Sorry, I'm seeing something else. Hello. I'm very happy to be here. I'm delighted that you're here. I had feared like 2 or 3 people, and we're way ahead. I'm David Marshall. I am publisher and director of international sales for the Society of Industrial and Applied Mathematics, or Siam. As Anne mentioned, we're relatively new partners in working with INASP, and as such, I'm going to be directing my comments to those of you that may not be doing this yet and are kind of interested in the process that we went through. If you've already done this, then you can bask in your fabulousness that you've already done everything I'm going to be talking about. So to help you put my comments in the proper context, I thought I'd start by just telling you just a very brief bit of information about Siam. We are an international professional society for applied mathematicians and computational scientists, very high-level stuff, PhD and beyond. We have over 14,000 members in 104 countries. And we provide a number of services to our members and to the scholarly community at large. We have a thriving publication group. We have 17 peer-reviewed journals, highly ranked, pretty much whatever metric you look at. We also have a book program with 440 titles, I believe, available in both print and e-format. And we also have our house organ, which is Siam News. That's our monthly newsletter. And as with many other societies, we also hold and conduct 20 conferences and publish select proceedings. So, why might you want to have your content available to emerging economies? There are a number of reasons. I've just enumerated some of them here. The first I put down is altruism, mission, or this just occurred to me, maybe you have a conscience. I mean, you know, it's really the right thing to do. I'm not here to preach, but here I am. Preach it, brother, preach it. You know, we're a not-for-profit society, and so we are mission-driven, and we do feel it's our responsibility to help promote the fields of applied mathematics and computational science. But I would argue that commercial publishers as well do this for altruistic reasons and also have this as part of their mission. So this was a really strong motivating factor for Siam. Other reasons that you might want to do this, maybe you have no presence at all in emerging economies. Maybe you have no customers in sub-Saharan Africa, for instance. Or maybe you have a little bit of a presence, but not very much, and you see this as a way to expand your footprint in those markets. Maybe you see this as a way to increase your revenue. Certainly possible. That might be a factor. In our case, as with, I think, other membership societies, you may view this as another vehicle to grow your membership and to help your mission through that means. And I'm sure you might have other strategic goals and reasons as well. So as you're pondering this, there are some factors you'll want to consider. I think the first thing is probably one of the most important, and this is true really whatever you're trying to accomplish in the workplace. Get a sense of the internal politics. Who is going to be impacted by this within your organization? Who are the key players? Who are the people that are likely to be supporters? Who are the people that you think are likely or could be detractors? Who are the people that appear to be supporters but are in reality detractors? It's a good sense to get a good sense of who the players are and how they're likely to support this idea or not. Next, take a look at staffing implications. Who's this going to have an impact in terms of workflow within your organization? Certainly customer service. These institutions are going to need access to your content, and so you'll want to work with your customer service group, at least at Siam, to make that happen. Your sales group would be impacted by this. marketing. So you need to think about who is this going to touch within your organization. What will be the impact on current subscribers? If you do have some presence within some of the emerging economies, if you ramp this up and scale it up, what impact will that have on the existing business that you already have? What about pricing business models? You may think, well, this is the price for the content. It's worth that anywhere, so you're going to price it at the same price you charge others. Or maybe you do have a conscience, and you'll think, no, we have to recognize that these economies don't have the resources that we do, and so you need to discount appropriately. Or you might even decide to do what Siam did, and that is no charge at all. In our case, since we are a mission-driven society, we've decided it's really important for us to do this to support our mission, and so we have elected not to charge institutions to have access to our content. And then finally, approvals. This harkens back to my first bullet point about internal politics. Who do you need to get to approve this? And if you've already talked with them and given your rationale and worked through any issues, you should be able to get those approvals. So, you've considered it, you've made the decision that you want to do it. Now, how are you going to do it? Do you want to reach these institutions on your own? Are you a large organization that has a lot of resources and is well staffed? Or are you a smaller organization that doesn't have the staff? Or maybe even a larger organization, but you have other priorities. You may decide to work with an existing organization that has existing contacts with institutions within these economies. And I've listed some of them here. If your content is in JSTOR, you might want to consider their Developing Nations Access Initiative. JSTOR is very strong in humanities, but certainly not limited just to the humanities. Research for Life. I'm sure you recognize Hinari and Agora. They're particularly strong in the biomedical area, but again, in others as well. And INASP. Siam made the decision after looking around, doing some due diligence to work with INASP. We'd heard good things about them and appear to be well run, and a lot of similar societies to Siam have been working with them. So you've thought you're going to do this, you've thought about it, you've agreed, yeah, it needs to be done, should be done, it will be done, and you've decided how you're going to do it. What next? Well, this is pretty standard stuff. You're going to need to negotiate an agreement with them. This is an important step, as it usually always is. You want to frame the expectations on both ends. And so in my case, I had a very nice and long call with Anne on the phone where we went through each and every clause and just really talked about what that meant for Siam. You don't want to get into a situation where you're promising things that you can't deliver. Then internal communication. Now, if you've done your scut work in-house and you've talked to people, and so you've talked to the departments that are going to be impacted by this decision, that's all well and good, but now you need to communicate with them. Yep, we're doing it. It's all set up. So let's meet. Let's sit down and talk about how we're going to make this happen, how it's going to impact your workflow, how you can minimize that, how you might want to prioritize things. And then finally, external communication. Let's face it, there's PR value in agreeing to do this, and so you need to take advantage of that and get the word out, so get your marketing people working on that. You may have key volunteers within your society that you want to make sure they're well aware of it so that they can serve as ambassadors. And you may have members on your board, for instance. So those are all important. I'm going to close with a quote from Louis Pasteur: "Science knows no country because knowledge belongs to humanity and is the torch which illuminates the world." So if you are not already working with an organization that can help you provide content to the emerging economies, I urge you to pick up that torch and do it. Thank you.